Right, let's give this one a go. What have been the best bits about 2001? No, 2001. What have been the best bits in 2021?
Open shut them.
A torrential downpours lashed Australia's east coast on Monday.
Okay, maybe not those bits. But despite all of this, over the last year, we've been able to connect with you and show you our new Australian lifestyle since emigrating during a global pandemic. We've managed to do some great things over the last year, and we're really grateful for your support and joining us along for the ride. We love reading all of your comments and responding to your questions on Instagram. And in 2022, we want to keep helping and inspiring you to also make the move to Australia yourself. So for me, my 7th best thing that we've done this year is our days out in Brisbane. In Brisbane, there is always so much to do, and to be honest, I feel like we've only really scratched the surface of everything that's available to us. It's so refreshing to go out in a city where there's loads of free stuff or just really cheap things that you can do. Especially for me, because I'm a tight ass, and if you're not careful, all of these activities that you do for families or with young kids, it kind of starts to add up. Another thing that's going to dig into your budget is transport. And luckily for us in Brisbane, transport is really cheap and really easy, especially compared to the fees that we were used to paying for when we used to live in the UK. All of that combined with the fantastic weather that we have here in southeast Queensland, it really makes it so that days out aren't a chore anymore. My 6th favourite thing to do this year has been hiking to Mount Nebo and searching for waterfalls. This was our first real experience of actually living the Aussie lifestyle. The scenery is beautiful and it feels fantastic just getting back to nature. Even if you do also see some snakes on the way. To us, living here, everything still feels new. So even day trips out hiking or in the countryside, they still feel like a holiday. If you really want to see the best sights in Australia, unfortunately you're going to have to do a bit of work for it. So finding some cool hiking tracks or somewhere you want to go to see is definitely one of my favourite things to do. Now our 5th favourite thing to do definitely has to involve our daughter Aurora. Visiting Australia Zoo was probably one of the most anticipated things that I wanted to do since moving to Australia. I actually remember when I came here when I was like 10, I went to a zoo in Sydney. It might not have been Taronga Zoo, but I thought that was the real Australia Zoo because it was a zoo in Australia, and it wasn't. Growing up watching Steve Irwin wrestle crocodiles and snakes, it kind of makes you think that that's what Australia is all about. Now I know that it isn't, but you still want to get a little bit of that left in your childhood. And sharing that experience with my daughter makes me a lucky guy. Seeing her being able to interact with all the animals and watch her developing into a little character was one of my favourite moments of 2021. It also made it even more special as that was one of the first things that we got to do when we moved to Australia, and it was a fantastic change from all the lockdowns and the dreariness that was in the UK. It probably was, apart from the 24-hour flight over here, one of the first times that we got to spend together actually as a family. My 4th favourite thing in 2021 was probably our Hinterland Vacation. Now to me, this really did feel like being in the middle of nowhere. But I've since learned, thanks to a lot of your comments, that it isn't really in the middle of nowhere. This was special to me because it was great to see parts of Australia that aren't really just all about beaches. And for those people really thinking about moving to Australia, it does really demonstrate another side that this country has. It's true, most people in Australia do live around the coastline, but if you want a real experience of Australia, go inland. We love visiting and supporting local businesses, so our little Hinterland holiday was a great experience to do this. Now number 3 on my list is also another little getaway. Our first visit to the Sunshine Coast was a family-friendly, fantastic time, especially compared to Brisbane, where there are so many awesome beaches, and even in the winter, you get the most beautiful weather, probably because it's not like scorching hot. But to be honest, there's loads more to do than just visiting beaches, and one of the reasons why we loved it so much is, to be honest, it's not overly crowded. And it's great for little kids. Now my 2nd best moment of 2021 would have to be us buying our first house in Australia. This is our perfect opportunity to really set down some roots, and for us this is a really big project to create a house that we can really call our own. One of our big reasons for moving to Australia from the UK is that we would have never been able to afford a house like this living there. The problem with renovating though is that it costs loads of money, and we're slowly getting there, and we will be able to give you an update soon, but we're not quite there yet. Now my favourite bit of 2021 has to be us going whale watching. How many people can say that they live in a place where they can just go whale watching? I'm 34 years old. I've never seen whales in my life. It's definitely not a thing that you have at an aquarium. For us, it was a once in a lifetime experience, and I feel so lucky to be able to say that it's just on our doorstep. But the main reason why it was so special for me was that we get to share all these kind of experiences with our daughter. And to see her slowly growing up and to be able to interact and engage with these kind of experiences really does melt my heart. In the UK, we just felt like we were always spending our time indoors, and being able to get out into the great outdoors and experience nature in this way, well, that really is the reason why we moved to Australia. I can't wait to look back on this and think, what 2-year-old ever got the opportunity to go whale watching? What was your favourite part of 2021? Make sure you leave it down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. And if you haven't had the opportunity yet and you want to have a look at some of those videos, well, why don't you click on one right now? Come on. I'd go for the whale watching one.